Welcome, everyone, to another session of Crituitous Roleplay. Previously, you had followed the giant Harshnag through the mountains of the spine of the world into the area known by him and a few select others as the Eye of the Allfather. After entering in and being greeted by the presence of some barbarians, you decided to investigate the place a little bit more to make sure that you were aware of your entire situation before you charged straight in to try and speak to the Oracle. You explored off to the northern side, trying to get a glimpse of what might be up there, and unfortunately ended up setting off a trap which caused the entire chapel complex to collapse in and on top of itself. And then, seeing that fail, you moved down to venture into the southern part where you entered the mess hall, or the dining hall of the giants, and there you encountered two huge beasts which almost took the life of Taman, but were very easily, very quickly destroyed and defeated. We ended last week with you all camped out just outside the archway of ruins, and Harshnag hitting the frost giant weapon against the frost giant rune, it illuminating with a brilliant blue light. And then, seeing that that method worked, you all kind of calmed down, took a short rest, had a chance to communicate back and forth, and really just relax before heading into the next leg of the journey. In terms of setting and time, the sun is starting to set off in the distance. You can see the shadows are beginning to rise up from the entryway, and you're looking at just before dusk as the time of day. What would you guys like to do?
Let's open this portal, man. Come on, boys. Let's get going. Rest time's over.
One sec, Aaron. Before we do, let me just cast this ritual on myself. It'll just take 10 minutes. Y'all get y'all stuff together while I do this.
Go.
I'm gonna cast the ritual of comprehend languages.
Okay. So while Loic is spending time attuning the magical energies within him to be able to understand the meaning of each of the runes that lines the archway, everyone else gathers together and systematically manages to get each of the weapons off of the statues. These are extremely heavy weapons. Each one has a different weapon and a different type, and each of them weigh over 500 pounds, but together you work on moving it closer to the archway. At about the same time as you are managing to get one or two of these, Loic is able to translate the runes, and you know specifically which rune represents which tribe of giants. Guiding the rest of the party, you instruct them to move the fire giant's weapon up to the right rune, and as you connect, that one lights up with a brilliant red light. And so in turn, you try out every combination with the correct weapon and the correct rune being instructed by Loic, and you find a nice rainbow of colors being splayed out before you. As the last rune gets connected and lights up, the entire archway just shimmers with a brilliant white clear light and then opens up before you. Beyond this huge archway, you see a hexagonal looking chamber whose walls rise up 50 foot high at the edge, but then taper upwards to a 90-foot central point. Standing in each of the corners, you can see a life-size statue of a different giant type, each of them holding up a very heavy iron lantern in one of their hands. Each type you see is represented, so Hill Giant is there, Stone, Frost, Fire, Cloud, and Storm are all present. A very cold magical light seems to radiate from each of them right now, and they are all lit, giving off light to the rest of the room. You look at the surroundings and you happen to actually see a corpse right in the center of the room. It is a huge corpse, suggesting it is of giant kind, and the corpse looks like it's been lying there for quite a while, almost completely frozen over and preserved through the cold. Next to the body, you can see his weapon, a huge morning star. What would you like to do?
Can I make any kind of checks to discern what the system in here is like? How to use it?
So, Harshnag had explained to you before that what he had been taught was that simply asking a question to the Oracle whilst in the room will ask the question and extinguish one of the lights.
Aaron would like to... He wants to gauge your perception of the room quickly just to make sure there's nothing like trap-wise or anything that he might set off. He's very cautious that this thing's dead and he wants to know why it's dead, so he wants to move over and see if he can see a cause of death.
Owen's going to just whisper to Harshnag, just wander out and whisper, "Is he the Oracle?"
No, that's not the Oracle. We've never seen the Oracle itself. The Oracle is an aspect of the Allfather.
So who's that dead guy?
Well, as almost in an answer to your question, as Aaron moves closer towards it, you see the frost and ice just starts to collect and coalesce into the form of a frost giant's ghost. He stands up in front of you all, puts his arms out. He looks at you all. He sees each of you in turn, but doesn't say anything.
Gamel's going to say, let's not ask any questions on the off chance that they accidentally get answered. Just going to put that out there.
Harshnag responds,
I think you'll be safe unless you're actually directing it to the Oracle. It would be a pretty big oversight if it was created to respond to everything.
I'm gonna carefully to Harshnag say, Harshnag, you know that guy. And then I'm saying it declaratively, but my eyebrows are going up questioningly. You know that guy.
The ghost responds,
I do not know why any of you are here, or who any of you are. Why have you come to the Eye of the Allfather?
We have questions. The giants are in a time of trouble, and we seek to reorganize what has been broken.
Perhaps I can share this wisdom and clarification for you all. Only a question asked while stood in the center of the room will be answered by the Oracle.
I have a question. Is there any sacrifice to be made in receiving an answer?
No sacrifice.
But as you see him respond to that question, he does look a little sad. His arms drop down to his side.
No sacrifice at all.
Follow-up question, Mr. Ghost. Why are you dead?
Yeah.
It is a sad tale. My father and I came to this place, this holy place, to seek answers on how we could venerate our kind, how we could please the gods. Sadly, the Oracle told my father that he has no hope of ever gaining the favor of the Allfather again. And instead, the Oracle instructed me to step out from my father's shadow and take the lead of our tribe. That was the last thing I saw with my mortal eyes as my father drove his blade into my back.
Is that your body there?
Who's your father?
His name is Blagothkus.
You've got to be pretty annoyed with him, then.
Very annoyed. I seek and I wish for someone to be able to avenge me. To seek out my father and destroy him.
Where's he at?
I do not know. For that, you would have to ask the Oracle.
What's the name of your tribe?
It was just our little group of frost giants. We had no name, so to speak.
If we killed your father, and you were supposed to take up leadership, who would fill his role?
I do not know, nor do I care. I only seek a peace to this eternal damnation I spend locked in this place.
If your father was to fall by one of our hands, would your tribe possibly follow the victor?
If my father is with the tribe, yes. Possibly.
Harshnag, you want to rule a tribe? Or better yet, Loic, you want to rule a tribe?
Don't give him any ideas.
It'd be nice to have a tribe of frost giants at your beck and call.
There you go.
You'd need a different adamantine cube or bag of holding to keep them all in it. What's that magic sack you can pull like animals out of? But I'm imagining one where you pull like frost giants out of it instead.
It's just like the bag of many animals or something.
Harshnag does turn. It's like,
I have no desire to lead frost giants myself. I'm not a leader.
If we did decapitate the head of a frost giant tribe, then it's possible that they'll be preoccupied with attempting to find a new leader or something like that, and not attacking. And I look at Taman, and not attacking the surrounding civilizations looking for magical weapons. So that would be another reason.
That's assuming he's telling the truth.
Whereabouts? Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
My name is Igeron.
Igeron. Whereabouts was your tribe last time you were alive? In what region, roughly?
Closer to the Sword Mountains.
My neck of the woods.
That's where we were back then, but where they are now, I cannot say.
Okay.
There was some kind of fabled city at one point during the First Orcish War. The name of it is slightly elusive. Perhaps I can roll to see if I remember it.
make a history check.
Now, did you say this guy's name was Algeron?
Igeron.
Igeron.
Yeah. Loic, whichever city you're referring to, is probably the city that existed there.
It's called Shining White.
Yes.
It was a fortress built to frost giant specifications. I haven't heard anything of it since the First Orc War, but perhaps the frost giants have returned to Shining White to accumulate power for this new goal.
Where's
We're
Shining?
checking out.
Where's that? In the Sword Mountains?
Are they the
south,
ones
south of
next
Neverwinter.
Yeah.
Just where I
Okay.
came from.
No. Shining White is further north.
That's not where my family were from. As I say, where my father is, I do not know. But if you are willing to slay him, if you can slay him, you are welcome to my armor and anything on my person. Just please slay my father so that I can rest.
I've got vengeance of my own to sort out. And with that, Owen steps towards the center of the room.
Loic, with the name of Igeron's father, is that enough for you to scry his location in the future?
It would be more helpful if your body had anything on him, or that came from him. Do you have anything of his?
Nothing that was his. Nothing that would be tied towards him.
Anything the rest of your tribe? Something from a friend of your tribe?
I have my armor and an opal, but that was given to me by a sage, not of my tribe.
Well, I'm in favor of removing a deceitful giant from a leadership position.
You got fooled by a crab.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Yeah.
What makes you think this fella's telling the truth? He might be the one who tried to betray the other one.
It's true. But I'm saying that if there is a deceitful giant leading other giants, I would be in favor of removing him from power.
Well,
we
technically
don't
you're
have to
talking
shoot.
about all giants. Okay.
Whoa.
Well, no, all of them. Just the fire and the frost and the hills. There you go. Correction. Sorry, Allfather.
So we don't have to shoot first and ask questions later. We can try to get down to more specifics. But
Whatever you do, seek out my father and make him answer for his murderous crime.
And as he says that, his body starts to fizzle and disappear once again.
we check out those items
But
that he left
does it
behind.
leave? Yeah, his body disappears, but his armor and such stays behind.
So his body is there. It was just a incorporeal form, his ghost, that had appeared. But his ghost disappears. His body is still there. You can see that he is wearing plate armor, and he has in his hand an opal with a frost rune in it.
That
Owen's just gonna kind of pluck up the opal and just kind of shrug and toss it to Aaron.
Okay.
You catch it, and the opal, nice big opal, shrinks down to the size of your palm,
Okay.
and you do feel magical energy about it.
We haven't got time to have a look at this, but I'll put it in the bag of holding for the time being.
How does this oracle thing work then?
You just ask it questions directed at it, and it will respond verbally, I think, in giant.
It's me deciding whether or not to be so cruel as to use
Because that was
those.
a question.
Yeah. I was leaving that up to you.
No. Harshnag steps forward and he says,
Just as the ghost explained, stand in the center and address the oracle, ask your question and it will answer.
I don't have a question, but this armor is interesting, so I'm going to be getting it off this guy. Whelm here speaks giant, so he can interpret if Harshnag doesn't want to be spending the time just trying to relay that kind of a thing. But so I'll be doing that. I'll set Whelm down next to Owen and tap him on the back twice and say, "Good luck, lad."
okay. Gamel, as you start taking the armor off of the creature, it starts to shrink perfectly to your size.
Ooh.
So, who's going first?
Owen sort of gives Gamel an appreciative nod, and he just sort of looks up, kind of as if anything could happen. So he looks up warily and just says, like, Oracle, where can I find the ones who murdered my father?
A moment goes by, and a voice coming from almost everywhere speaks out in giant. And after it finishes its sentence, Harshnag responds,
With the fire giants.
Harshnag, do you know where the fire giants are?
I do not.
Owen just sort of looks down and has a determined expression, and he just sort of nods and strides back out of the centre. Looks like he's deep in thought.
After the answer was translated, one of the lanterns turns off.
Alright. Harshnag says that the storm giant, the king of the storm giants, is that right? Am I remembering correctly? He's the one who's missing, and we need to find him. Is that's ostensibly Agator, that's right. That's ostensibly why we're here, right? To find out where he is.
That's what I want.
And Gamel helped us formulate a question that would be as succinct as possible to offer as few erroneous responses as possible. It was something along the lines of, where can we find King Hecator alive? Is that...
Gamel did come up with a pretty succinct question last week. Matthew does not remember.
The question that you had posed was, where can we find King Hecaton alive? So is that the question that you're going to ask?
I think so. Anyone objection? I'll go ahead and...
If he's dead, then you won't get an answer, or it'll be a bit of a misleading answer.
Well, but if he's dead, we don't need to do anything, right? I mean, if he's dead, there's nothing else to be done, right? We just leave and wish Harshnag, I guess.
Might have some loot.
Oh, okay.
Saying.
Don't we also need to fix the forge thing?
You speak of the ordning.
Thank you. That thing. We need to fix that as well, because it's broken.
Yes.
Okay, well, first question. Allfather, where can we find King Hecaton alive?
Sorry, audio cut out for a second. You asked the question that was mentioned earlier.
I phrased it so perfectly. You don't even have to worry about repeating it. Just assume that the best possible question was asked.
Absolutely. You posed this question perfectly, and as you finish the sentence, the most perfect answer is responded and translated as unknown. His location is being hidden from all.
Well, snap.
Well, we know he's not dead. If
Do
his
we?
location's- No.
Everything's. If you don't know his location, well, okay.
His location is being hidden. He's not saying his location doesn't exist.
Well, and if he were dead, likely forces that were intentionally trying to hide him would not be putting in the effort to make that effect continue.
Unless they were trying to hide his death.
Harshnag storms right into the center and just shouts in Giant at the thing. Who understands Giant here?
Well, what did he say?
Comprehend language is on.
So Loic, you understand it, and Gamel translates straight away to you. He asks, how can we find King Hecaton? And immediately the response comes back, his daughter Cerisa. She has a clue to her father's whereabouts, and she needs your help.
So much for the perfect question. Am I right?
Was it supposed to be how can we find? Is that where I messed up? Oh, man. Okay, so we're down 3 questions.
Can we
What
get
was
a
her name again?
Can I get a spelling on that, please, Aaron?
Yeah,
So
sorry.
Cool.
I'm 0 for 3 on spelling these names. BTW.
Well-
Okay.
Ask Harshnag if he knows who that is.
Cerisa. She's the daughter of King Hecaton. She rules in his stead right now. She's the youngest of his 3 daughters, so it's a surprise that she is the one to speak to.
Do you know where we
got
can
it?
find her? Sorry.
She stays within the court of King Hecaton, but its location is unknown to any.
That's odd.
That would be something to pose to the Oracle.
This wily oracle. It's going to make us ask all our questions.
What sort of king doesn't want his court to be found?
Well, we could stay another day, potentially, and ask 6 more questions on the morrow.
That's cheating.
Well, the blizzard outside was on the way, so it may very well be that we'll have to do that anyways.
So what you're saying is the weather outside is
A little bit frightful.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the fire in the cafeteria was delightful.
Well, since we've
I
got
beg
no
to
place to go,
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
So we need to find out where Cerisa is. So can we brainstorm a way to ask this question? Would it be how can we find Cerisa? Or where can we find Cerisa?
Lel
I mean, can
hands
you
it.
just say, where is Cerisa right now?
Lel walks to the middle. How can we reliably find the courts of King Hecaton?
Harshnag translates the response.
Find a magic conch of the storm giant king, Hecaton. Use it to visit Hecaton's court. Root out the evil therein, and you will get there.
where's the conch?
Yeah. Do I have any knowledge about magical conches?
Make a history check. You don't really... This secret is very heavily guarded by King Hecaton, so you don't really know what the conch is, what it's for, or how it's used, unfortunately. Even with a 26.
I am going to look at the trident in my hand and ask Wave, have you ever heard of anything like that before?
A magical conch. Do you think it plays really nice music?
Possibly. I suppose you haven't heard anything about it, though.
Not really, no.
This oracle is foiling us and our pre-planned questions.
Okay. Can we ask what was the last name location of Sarissa? That covers the fact if she's disappeared, we have a trail to follow. And if she hasn't disappeared, we know exactly where she is currently.
Well, she might be in the court. If she's at the court, then we would need the conch. So it could potentially give us information we already have.
Or I can scry on her with the magic mirror.
You can.
You have a magic
Or at
mirror?
least you
I
could try.
completely forgot you had that.
It's sitting in the bag. I haven't had a reason to use it.
You want to give that a shot then, before we ask another question? Or are there any limitations with the magic mirror that we should know about?
No, not really. I can scry. I should be able to scry on anybody and have a conversation with them if we use a spell slot.
Providing they are on the same plane of existence.
Yeah.
And same stipulations as a scry spell in that it could be blocked.
Don't do it.
If Hekaton's being blocked, then she might possibly be blocked. That's the only issue we've got.
Maybe
And
That-
this amulet, I'm a bit suspicious because this amulet does exactly the same thing.
Well, the Allfather told us to find Sarissa. The Allfather thinks we can find Sarissa, therefore she must not be hidden.
Or we could just ask where to find the conch, because that's the sure way we know to find Shavisha.
But that would leave us with one question left, and we have at least 2 folks who have questions.
Then we take a nap and come back tomorrow. It's clearly not going to be done all at once.
But the temple might fall down overnight. You don't know.
And the world can end in 1 minute.
That's true.
We're not going to get all our questions answered, so I think we just pick the best ones, we sleep on it, we come back tomorrow, we answer a few more, and then we set off out with all the information.
We stick to the mission. We get the mission. We get what's critical to the mission. If we've got time in the morning, then we answer some personal questions.
What is there a downside of using the scrying mirror? Loic, you seem to have an objection.
My scrying mirror only has had 3 uses. It's down to 2. If I use it, it's limited, but it works better than the lowest standard scrying spell because we can actually talk to the person.
It's whatever y'all want to do. I just want to make it known that I'm not here for the mission. I'm here for the question that I was promised.
Let's use the mirror then. I am in favor of using the scrying mirror to see if we can discern the location of Sarissa without burning a question.
Well, can you scry
Yeah.
on her before?
Well, I mean,
Possibly.
I can try it, but there's little chance it will work unless I have something of hers or something relative to her, or have seen her before, some kind of connection.
But would you know the difference between you failing to connect or that being blocked?
There is a perception displace that happens when the spell takes effect.
While this is going on, Owen's just going to sit beside Gideon and just say, "What do you think to all this?"
I think we will run out of questions very shortly, child. We must think carefully as to which ones we want answered. He looks across at Harshnag, having said that. Child, did you not wish to know why the ordning was shattered?
I suspect the ordning was shattered so that someone would seek after King Hekaton. And that is what I'm doing. What I want to know is how we can find a conch that will take us to his court. If the conch will take us to his court, we can find all the answers there. That's what I want to know.
Maybe the conch is with Sarissa, and maybe Sarissa knows where the conch is.
We need the conch to find Sarissa. Why doesn't someone just ask the question, and then all your petty personal questions you can ask tomorrow?
No,
I don't see...
We need the conch to find the court.
Yes, and
Sarissa
is in the court, according to the answer we got.
Harshnag, why don't you go and use it?
Okay.
He goes, stands back in the center, and in common, so that everyone else can hear, he does say,
"How can we find the conch?"
And it responds, and he translates.
"First, you must prove yourself to me, the All-Father. When human barbarians came to these lands, they fought over our kind and stole our relics, burying them in the ground. The humans built altars to Uthgar, their god king. Atop these relics and surrounding their altars with burial mounds. Go to these mounds, retrieve one or more of our lost relics, and bring them here as tribute. Do this and your path will be made clear. There are many paths you can take. The more relics you deliver, the more paths you will have to choose from. Several evil giant lords stand ready to oppose you. You can ruin all of their plans by defeating just one of them. Which one that is remains to be seen. Collect one of these relics, and it will lead you to, or I will lead you to a giant lord that has one of the conches."
Oh, this is going to be a thing. Loic sighs.
Don't we,
He's losing all hope.
don't we have 3 of these relics? Why were giants searching for magical items? Could this be the reason?
Yeah, maybe they're trying to get the conch themselves.
The Allfather said that these items are at Uthgard burial grounds. So I don't think any of us have anything from an Uthgard burial site.
What about that necklace thing y'all took off of the Uthgards that were just back there?
I'll take it out of the bag and hold it.
It's technically a gravesite.
Harshnag explains.
Maybe my translation wasn't quite clear. These relics that it spoke of have been buried into the ground, and their burial altars have been built above.
One could hope it would be easier than that. You can't blame me.
Fair enough.
Well,
I know of all of the locations of the Uthgard burial mounds.
Finally, something goes in our favor.
I'll lead the way.
He pulls out a bit of paper and starts scrawling a rough map for everyone.
Giant-sized.
Well, it sounds like we're going to be here a few times to answer some questions. Like, do you want to ask your one? It's pressing.
Yeah, I do.
So as Harshnag is writing, drawing out this crude map, he explains,
"You are here, right here, where it says you are here. And to help you understand where in location we are, I'll dot down a couple of the major cities with the dots. But all of these crosses are the Uthgard burial mounds. So there is one not far from here."
There's one in the grandfather tree.
Right, the high forest.
Owen just kind of looks at Harshnag and says, "Are you coming with us?"
It's a bit late to head out into the snow overnight. I'd suggest we camp out and go tomorrow, but you've still got one question left.
Not for long. And look, waltzes into the middle of the circle. And he's like, "Hey, where can I find a cubic gate that is connected to Pandemonium?"
It responds. Harshnag looks confused.
Says, go to Longsaddle. You'll find one there.
Oh, wow. Oh, no. I don't want to have to steal from them.
Well, Owen just kind of like glances at Aaron and back at Loic and just said, "Has he always been this odd?"
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the last lantern fades off, plummeting this room into darkness.
I draw Dawnbringer.
Shing.
So Harshnag, what I understood from the Allfather was that bringing back one of these items would be sufficient to set us on the path to getting the conch shell. But bringing back several would have greater benefit? Is that what you understood?
Yeah, sounds about right. More a case of we bring back more, we'll have more paths available to take.
So there's one guy that has the conch, And if we just want to find that one guy, then what do you think is the advantage of having multiple ways to find the one guy?
Because I believe each of the giant lords has a conch.
Oh, so if we bring back more of these relics, then the Allfather will give us the names and addresses of different.
I think so.
Yes, Leo?
I'm assuming that Shining White isn't written on this map, since it's supposed to be like a forgotten.
Which one?
It's right there above, next to Long Saddle.
Yeah, it's
No,
above it.
it's just that Silvery Moon hasn't heard any peep out of it. That's all.
I thought it was like lost to the ages.
The map that you guys have, that I've given you guys access to, has a lot of locations you shouldn't normally be able to be aware of.
Okay. Never mind then.
Yes, I agree with you, Taman. I think the more of these burial relics that we retrieve, the more options we will have as to which of the giant lords we take on to get the conch.
When you say take on, will we have to take it from them?
You really think a giant is going to let you have a conch of King Hecaton? If it's as important as we need it, I doubt they're going to part with it easily.
I don't know, maybe if we ask nicely.
When in my life did I become an errand boy?
I have been asking myself the same thing.
When did this happen?
Loic.
Errand master, errand lady, good paladin. No boy here.
Eluste steps next to you and just whispers so that only you can hear, Lael. We are all errands of Elistrae.
You just see like Lael's shoulders drop, her head bobs, like Jesus. God.
Elistrae.
Jesus, that's blasphemy.
Yeah, that's a goddess. That's a goddess. To correct myself.
I ask Loic. Loic, if you're heading to Long Saddle, it looks like our travels could take us past 3 of these ritual or relic sites on the way to Long Saddle. What do you say we all stick together on your trip to Long Saddle?
Taman, my friend, I am absolutely willing to help if our goals are aligned, and they happen to be. So, yes.
All right. Everyone else? Is everyone else in for tracking down at least 3 of these relics?
I need to find where the fire giants dwell. I think I'm probably going to have a better chance of that if I search around with you lot.
You hear a resounding "I" come from Whelm.
Well, the Enclave sent me here, so I'm supposed to follow leads. Seems like a lead to me.
I would like to visit Luskan at some point and figure out what happened there.
Depending on what we do in Long Saddle, maybe we could hit Morgar's Mound and then up to Raven Rock on our way back from Luskan on the way back to the Allfather to get 2 more of these relics.
It would be nice to go to Icewind Dale and see 10 Towns.
Owen just glances at Lael suspiciously. Why? What happened at Luskan?
Well, as far as my mother tells me, Luskan is a city, right?
I would not
Yeah.
know, child.
Owen shrugs.
So I've heard.
Drow do not normally raid cities. Villages, sure. Farm towns, yes. Small towns, certainly. But a city. And apparently Luskan has been attacked by I can only assume as a Drow army.
Can't be surprised.
There is a slight coincidence there with Luskan.
Is there?
Yes. While we were down in Underdark still, hunting Vizorin, we came across a teleportation circle, and I discovered that it was a teleportation circle to Luskan. So it's a bit coincidental, considering Drow showed up there. Although Luskan is also the place where I heard what I did before about our friend that we met in Menzo Barons on with the hat.
Your friend.
So, my friend, yes.
Not mine.
In either case, it's not entirely unknown that Drow have touched that place before.
If Drow have attacked the city in force, might they attack others around it?
I'm not sure, but I need to find out.
They sound more dangerous than the giants at this time.
Well, that's Drow for you.
It certainly is.
You shut up, boy. You're barely off your mother's teat. What do you know?
Just narrows his eyes at her.
It's an awful long way for them to travel in the Underdark, a full army.
I know, and unnoticed. There are other cities as well. I mean, as we became aware when we were down there, it's not easy moving a small force, let alone a force big enough to take out a city.
Perhaps we ought to ask the Allfather what he knows of it.
Haven't Drow been attempting to push conquest on the surface for centuries upon centuries? Maybe they just finally got their teeth into a place and they made their move. They tried the same thing with Silvery Moon not very long ago.
Yes, to say Drow try and take on the surface. It's pretty much saying that, the moon is silver and the sky is blue. But it is my duty to investigate these things and to ensure that those that follow Lolth stay where they belong.
I thought you and Taman made an attempt to just sow some discord into Menzo Baranzon.
Did you?
I'm pretty sure we did. We did not, however, stick around to see the aftermath because we're not suicidal.
What did you do?
We made all of the council houses aware of Gromp's involvement, implicating Bayanri in what they did with the demons.
Interesting.
So it opened an invitation for other ruling houses to make their move when Bayanri is at their weakest, that they have been in a very long time. And trust me, they were decently weak compared to how I had seen them on my way out.
On your way out?
When I died, got evaporated.
Yeah.
Came back right there in the Bayanri house.
They brought you back. Lel's eyebrows are higher now.
Fun fact.
We clearly need to have a talk.
So Harshnag steps out of the archway and starts setting up camp at the base of the Allfather statue.
Aaron will take Loic aside because at the time we hadn't established that was Luskin's gate. I think Loic found that out later. Is that correct?
Yeah. You sent Loth
I told her.
then we found out.
Yeah, you found out later after I'd left, so I didn't. So I'm going to approach Loic quietly once everyone's sort of doing their thing and we're resting. And thanks for not mentioning.
Yeah, I don't think that it would solve anything or help anyone at the moment.
I wasn't aware it was Luskin.
In all honesty, try not to feel too bad that, first of all, it was an honest mistake, and second of all, Luskin's full of nothing but dirty, nasty pirates.
I didn't think the wizard would have gone there. I thought it was some private portal or something he'd set up for himself.
You don't need to reconcile yourself to me. I understand your situation and did what you thought was right at the time, and things played out from there. But it does sound like you might have to reconcile it with yourself.
I know.
Maybe once you see Luskin, there will only be crocodile tears. Because they're really not, like, most...
I've been to the city, but there is some people in there, Loic. You might have the scum in the world, but there are people trying to get on with their lives at the same time, and they might be caught in the middle. And I'll have to live with that. I made a choice to try and protect us, and that's the outcome. Maybe we can get some retribution. I told Love not to mess with us. Make sure she pays for it again.
Perhaps next time you consider talking to an enemy again, you can let one of us know, and we can perhaps put in our input whether or not we think that will be helpful in the future.
To be honest, though, I gotta defend my actions. I was in a bad frame of mind then.
Let's try not to let it happen again.
Yes, that would have been the correct solution. But at the moment, at the time, I wasn't in a good place.
Okay, so next time you're not in a good place, remember this moment. Remember that event, and allow it to be your strength for regaining control.
Good talk.
Good talk. Give him a buddy pat.
Gideon's going to be looking towards Lael after that conversation. You speak of demons and drow, child. I do not understand. Do we face those as well?
Not today, but it is my internal struggle.
But you speak of we know the drow could be an obstacle. Do they bring demons with them?
Sometimes.
And you have fought them?
Yes. I fight against them with every breath I take, as is my sworn duty.
He gives you a curious look up and down as though he's sort of studying you, and after a minute, truly you and I are of a greater purpose than I imagined. Are you certain you do not serve the lady?
As I said previously, I serve a lady, the Silver Lady. Whether or not that is your lady, is another matter.
Dorada is more the Golden Lady, but this is not so far from silver.
Sun, moon, night, day.
Okay. Anytime, Owen's just going to be perusing. Is it now the map? Is it just on one sort of parchment? Is it massive?
Yes. It's one large piece of parchment, but it is something that one of you could hold.
Okay. As I say, that Owen's just taking the map and he's just staring at it with his brow furrowed, and he's just sort of tracing lines with his finger. Again, looking deep in thought.
Seeing him, Gideon's going to look up towards Harshnag. Child, do you know where he may find the fire giants he seeks?
We could go out searching for them, but it is a lot of land to cover.
Do they not
I know
congregate?
of places where they may travel, but all of the giants seem to be in upheaval. All of the giants seem to be moving. I can't say one way or the other where they would be. I would be willing to look with you, but I do think that this is one of the best ways. We could hope that one of the burial relics that we find is one that would lead us to one of the fire giants.
If not, somebody's got to know where they are. Owen says without looking up from the map. Don't care if I have to ask anybody in Faerun, I'm gonna find them.
I will do all I can to aid you, child.
And that Owen just glances back over his shoulder at Gideon and just gives a solemn nod and just says, thanks. And returns his attention to the map.
Is there anything else anyone's doing this evening before you bed down?
Yes. Randall breaks out a very large gilded dice board with 2 sets of 5 dice. And he slams it on the floor and he says, anyone up for dice poker?
Gideon just sort of looks across and seems quite confused. What is this thing you speak of?
Well, I have 5 dice. You have 5 dice. And,
I don't.
Well, I'll give you 5 dice. I have 2 sets here just in case someone doesn't have a set of themselves. We roll them, and we try to make pairs, 3s, 4s, a full house.
You make houses of dice?
And he gets this, really, glassy-eyed look, what?
Who could live in a house of dice? You mortals are curious. And strange.
And so are you.
Owen just kind of lowers the map and looks over curiously. He said, they used to play that in the tavern over in my village.
Fancy of trying your luck, he says, rolling the dice in his hands.
I ain't been very lucky of lately, but fair enough.
Alright, are you playing against each other for money, or just playing for fun?
I don't think Randall has any money. It's all I have.
Yeah, Owen's only got side plays out there. That's sort of, he's got to just sort of go gesture to Gideon as he passes. Come on, I'll show you how to play. It's dead easy.
Gideon does sort of follow him, looking very curious about the whole thing.
Are Randall and Owen going to play fair, or are they going to attempt to cheat?
Well, Randall's going to play fair. He's usually just
Owen doesn't
lucky.
cheat.
He's just naturally lucky.
Alright, then I need deception checks contested between each of you. Anyone that's playing, as you lie your way into who has what.
Oh, you can play more than a couple of players.
Well, we're doing Aaron's version, but in RP we can do the Witcher version.
Never heard of the Witcher version, so...
I will teach you. It's very good.
It's so easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easier than this version, probably.
It's also in a different...
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. She's not trying to deceive.
Well, isn't that the purpose of the dice game?
No,
it's
so
pure chance.
you roll 5 d6, and you have to try and make a set, and like a, 2 pairs of 1, or 2 pairs of 2, or 3 pairs of
Poker
3.
sets.
It's like a poker set with dice.
For example, this.
Yeah.
He's got one pair.
Yeah, he's got 1 pair, so roll 5 d6. And Randall has 2 pair. He's got 2 1s and 2 5s.
Yeah. So then
It's
you get
basically
one.
rolling for a poker hand, and
Yeah.
everybody sees what the rolls are. There's no deception involved in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, you get one re-roll. You get to choose which dice you want to re-roll, but you got to keep the results. So,
Six.
for example, there I would.
So it's Yahtzee.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that what it is?
See what would make sense. You roll the first 3 dice, and then put an ante in. So have the ante, then put a bet in, then roll the next dice, then put another bet in.
Yeah, but we're
then
not
roll another
betting.
one.
Yeah,
but we're not both.
that's exactly how it works. Except you just have 2 rounds, I think, just to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
For example, then I want to roll the 1, 2, and a 6, and oh look, I've got another 5.
I figured you'd be playing poker with the dice, but you'd be hiding it from each other and deceiving, as you would play actual poker.
Yeah, no.
So that's why I said deception rolls.
Yeah.
If you're creating your own rules for how you want to play this for a friendly game and whatnot, then sure, whatever mechanics you guys had that you know of that you want to run for it. But in the world of Faerun, and at least this campaign, dice poker is literally poker, but with dice.
Right, okay.
Okay.
So with deception.
Okay.
Excellent. So who won?
Great.
Randall was able to easily manage to convince everyone and trick everyone into the game, and he wins.
Excellent. The end.
Anything else you guys are doing while you go to sleep or get ready to sleep?
We have this magic opal.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron's going to examine the opal.
Okay, you're just going to play with it and practice it, right?
Just figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Spend some time on it.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just say before as he goes to sleep, after many hours of losing at dice poker, he's gonna unroll his bedroll, just lay back, and he's just gonna hold his mother's amulet over and his just sort of turning it over in his hand.
No, Matthew is AFK, but he may have wanted to check out his armor, and he may have wanted to team up with Loic regarding the item that they were discussing.
It's true. We'll wait until Matthew is back to actually decide what he's doing with the armor, whether or not he's just going to put it on and test it, or if he's going to do something else first. Aaron, did you see the handout?
Yeah, I'm just reading through it.
Yeah.
Right, that's pretty useful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering
So
if you
after
can...
spending some time with it, you get a good idea of what you could do with it. And Harshnag actually helps you along with it. It's like, maybe try this, maybe do that.
Yeah. Can we share that with everybody? Because Aaron's gonna, once he's
If you're
figured it
going to
out...
share it.
It's not for Aaron, he's spending his time, he's trying to keep his mind occupied at the moment, so he's doing it for the group. I'm trying to figure out who would be most useful with that, but hopeful of the Ildu.
This triangular fire opal measures about 3 inches on each side and is 1/2 inch thick. The fire rune shimmers within its core, causing it to be slightly warm to the touch. The opal has the following properties, which work only while it's on your person. 1 is ignite. As an action, you can ignite an object within 10 feet of you. The object must be flammable, and the fire starts in a circle no larger than 1 foot in diameter. You have Fire's Friend. You have resistance to cold damage. Fire Tamer is, as an action, you can extinguish any open flame within 10 feet of you. You choose how much fire to extinguish in that radius. Gift of Flame, you can transfer the opal's magic to a non-magical item, a weapon or suit of armor, by tracing the Ild rune, the fire rune, there with your finger. The transfer takes 8 hours of work that requires the 2 items to be within 5 feet of each other. At the end, the opal is destroyed and the rune appears in red on the chosen item, which gains the benefit based on its form. Weapons get additional fire damage, armor gets resistance to cold damage.
I would not mind a fire bow.
I'm kind of thinking that as well. An extra 1d6 fire bow damage would be really interesting.
Yeah, make it a magical weapon. Well, this is only really me. That say it could be. I mean, I'm gonna leave it open.
If you gave it to Leo, she would use it as a pillow to keep warm. So, no use.
Let's not do that.
Anybody else want it?
I will always have a desire for such things, but I feel like the ones that are a little bit more green around the ears ought to probably carry it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I wonder if used on a ranged weapon, like on a gun or a bow, would it confer the extra damage to its ammunition?
That's the main question.
You get a sense that it probably would.
So we could put it on one of Master Gamel's weapons, or we could put it on Owen's bow.
Could do. Could do any of those options.
Or we could put it on Gideon's halberd.
Good.
But Gideon has a way to make his halberd magical.
That's the main thing, is just a magical property to get around resistances.
Well, this isn't just a thing that you can put on an item. It can do a bunch of other stuff if you don't put it on an item, right? Or does it do the exact same stuff even if you have?
If you hold on to it, it will give you a couple of advantages. You can ignite something. You have resistance to cold, and you can extinguish open flames within 10 feet.
It's like the rune. As long as the rune is intact, it just transfers the rune from the opal to the weapon. So as long as you still have the rune on your person, then it should still give you the other stuff as well.
No. The opal is the object that has the other properties. If you were to transfer it to a weapon or an armor, it would lose all other properties.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I think it's more useful as the 3 things that you just keep on your person rather than put it on the weapon. Because you'll easily outgrow that damage, while you will never outgrow resistance to cold damage. Or extinguish fire whenever you want.
Well, actually,
else, but it's just it's just making it a magical weapon that overcome resistances. That sort of things. For some types of character, it's hard to come by.
Well, if we can prepare before a battle, and I've done this before with Ivar, if we know that something's coming up that we've got a bit of knowledge on, and we know it's going to probably be resistant to magical items, I can bless your weapon for an hour at a time.
Okay, how long?
Aaron's going to take the opal, and he's going to give it to Owen, and he's going to, because Gamel hasn't. I can't see his map there.
No, Gamel's gone to bed already. He figured, okay, that's it for tonight. I'm going to go to sleep, and he went straight to sleep.
Right, he's going to give it to Owen and go.
I'll be happy.
You choose what you want. You choose what you want to do with it. It's yours. It'll be useful as a weapon, but if you need some resistance. He's going to give him that because it's most useful for him. No one else has spoken up, so I take it, Sam, you've been walking around. So did you?
No, you're fine. No, I didn't want it anyway.
You didn't want it anyway. All right, okay. So yeah, he's going to give it to him, thinking that nobody else wants it. If he can use it on the bow, it's most useful for him. So.
Oh, I hope we get more giant runes. I want to see what they'll do.
Hey, Owen.
Owen's a little bit overwhelmed now. He just sort of looks between Aaron and Loic, confused. What?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I was just getting ready for bed.
Would you rather have that opal, or would you rather have a cloak of displacement?
Cloak of what?
Displacement. When you activate it, it blurs your image and presents a duplicate to your enemies, so they have a 50-50 chance of hitting you.
To be fair, Loic, that might be more useful for our friend with the pike over there. Being in close combat.
It's not really a style, is it?
Oh, hilarious.
Thank you.
Gideon, would you find such an item useful? You tend to get hit a lot.
I'll do a little twirl, let him see it.
I would not think to steal from you, child.
Oh, Jesus.
I think
It's not stealing.
I think he's offering. Yeah.
I was gonna give it in exchange for the opal, but Aaron has a point. If you could use it, then you're with us, and it will only help me to give it to you.
Call it a loaner if you don't feel proper taking
Yeah,
it.
that's fair.
If you would seek to exchange it with the child, Owen, he says after a moment, I would not stand in the way.
Sorry, just to see, did Owen, just for the sake of convenience, did Owen sort of overhear Harshnag's explanation of what it does and how to use it?
Well,
Yes, and Aaron would have explained it to everyone as well. That's why you're all kind of discussing it, is everyone now understands what it does, how to use it, and what it's for.
That's right. Well, Owen's already kind of got his bow out, and with a sort of an uncommonly devious look on his face, he just kind of looks at Aaron and said, "Thanks for this."
Okay, I guess we're not going to be bartering. Gideon, the offer still stands, regardless. If I do help you, I will be helping myself. That much is true.
No offense, Loic. I've never really had anything like this before. This old bow has been in need of an upgrade for years.
I'm not offended. Do I look offended?
Well, I don't know. I'll assume you're not.
Aaron's going to take the amulet and toss it to Loic and go, consolation prize.
Oh, great. What am I going to do with this?
What, love can't scrying you anymore.
Okay, so if you
Out of
ask...
curiosity, what's your passive perception?
Whose?
Loic's.
It is 16.
Cool.
Aaron, question: when if a weapon's a magic weapon, does it replace any kind of piercing, bludgeoning, etc. damage with magic damage?
It becomes magical piercing.
The extra D6 you would gain from that, if the opal was connected, you'd get fire damage from the extra D6.
But it takes 8 hours to convert it over.
Cool.
So if you wanted to do it, you could do it in the morning, next day, or whatever. Whenever.
Yeah, that's gonna be. He's gonna be up all night.
Cool. Well, up all night is another thing. You've got maybe an hour or so before you get so tired you need to fall asleep, and it would be pushing yourself to stay awake.
Well, let's just say not, and I'll just take whatever. We'll play it by ear.
Okay. So you all bed down for the night after sharing the various items that you have and talking over plans and making decisions of, okay, we could go to this burial mound, then this one, and you all fall asleep at different points. Making a point to take watches periodically. Harshnag stays up for a rather long watch, followed by each of you in turn doing short ones. And morning breaks without any disturbance. The sun starts to shine through and reflect off of some of the frost that had gathered in the entryway. You all feel refreshed and feel good. You all gain the benefits of a long rest as a result of after what you had gone through yesterday. So all of your hit points are back up to maximum. You don't have any more temp. No, you still have temp hit points, Aaron, for another good 16 hours. Yeah?
Yeah, I got wiped out of hit points yesterday.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, cool.
I went away.
You get back half your expended hit die and all of your spell slots. In the morning, You all get ready to go. The archway is still open, leading into the Allfather, and you notice that there are lights shining from inside the Oracle.
As soon as I wake up, it's a direct path that
Okay,
way.
Lael?
May we have a break, please?
Yes, let's take a
Yeah.
15-minute break.
Sweet.
Okay, be back at 1:45.
Aye.
Sam,
Mm-hmm.
did you want the cloak of displacement? I'm not even attuned to it right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask if we actually clarified whether or not he got that. He would have taken it and he would have thanked you if the offer was still on the table.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Let me get you the deets for that.
Cheers. I would imagine, Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I would imagine it'd hang, if it's a cloak, it's going to hang a bit strange on him. Like, straight down the centre, but he's got wings. They're going to interfere with it, I would think.
So, a cloak just simply fastens around the neck.
Mhm.
And it's big enough that it can go over the shoulders if you pull it over the shoulders. But while you're naturally moving, your shoulder movements will cause it to fall behind and in between the wings anyway.
Yeah.
So when you get to that moment of throwing out the wings, it'll part the cloak itself, and the cloak will end up lying between the wings down your spine.
I get that when the wings are present, but as we briefly discussed, and nobody really aware of this, his wings are constantly present. They're incorporeal, so you can't actually see them 90% of the time, I think we agreed.
Yes.
So they are, although they are there, I don't know if you want that to affect it
No,
regularly.
as they are incorporeal, as we discussed, you are still aware of their presence. They're almost like a part of your spirit that's extended. It passes through any items that you are wearing in that form. And so that way, whenever you do sprout your wings, regardless of whether or not you are wearing thick, heavy armor or whatever, your wings do sprout from the right location without tearing through any of the armor.
Alright, cool.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cool.
Okay, cheers for that, Casey.
No problem.
Made sense in my head after seeing like how, because you are up front, a ranged character having that, he's not going to get hit
Yeah,
a lot.
that was back in the days when I was super squishy, and one hit would kill me.
You get hit by the wrong thing, one hit will kill any of us.
Yeah, super tetanus, man.
Yeah.
Jason, you got that handout for the? Did you get it? For the
Yeah, everyone should have seen
Well,
it.
for their own, yeah, I've got their own.
Oh, you know the giant's plate armor. Is there anything special about that? Or is it just normal plate?
If someone identifies it or tests it out, they might find something.
I assume it's got to be at
About
least
it.
glamoured because it's shrunk. Is it glamoured?
I'll
the right
happily-
word? Whichever.
Did shrink.
I'll happily cast a ritual identify on it since we're just putzing around.
Well, Gamal has it.
He probably won't mind if I do it for him, right?
For the
He's
sake
gonna
of
keep
it,
the armor.
No,
No, it's fine. It's
this
just
is
y'all
meta.
want to know what it. You all wanted to know what it did. I was offering.
No, I know. I need to know whether or not you identify it before he puts it on.
Yeah, I would prefer to. Being the wizard.
I think consciously, all of us would be like, let's let the wizard do his thing before you tune to something or play with it. But
At least-
we're
At least with
warned
the
it.
item that you put your body into, yes.
Yeah, we would have warned
Because you guys didn't do this with another character who, I'll let you all know, is still cursed by that curse. Owen technically still has vulnerability to bludgeoning and slashing damage.
Yeah, I don't think he put the armor on.
Did put it on.
Yeah. To identify it, you did.
Okay.
But
Uh,
then he said he took
didn't
it back off.
Yeah, I didn't keep it on. It's just insane. He's still got it in
okay.
his inventory.
So he's got all the negatives and none of the positives? Is that right?
Exactly right.
And only an end curse would fix that.
Only a remove curse if someone knew that he was cursed.
No, we don't.
As of yet, Owen's not been hit by something,
Yeah.
to my knowledge, that I've taken note of that would matter. But yes.
It's okay, I got that prepared just in case.
I was about to
making
go
sure.
searching through the paladin list. I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, it is. 3rd level. You got a long way to go.
Loic, when you identify the breastplate that you get, it is +2 plate armor, but
What's your
it is
Leo's
also cursed. It is Berserker +2 plate armor.
What does that mean?
For
What's
those that
the-
don't know what a Berserker is, when you get hit by any damage by a hostile creature, you must make a wisdom save. For this one, it's a DC 15 wisdom save. If you fail, you must use your actions to attack the nearest creature to you. If there are no hostile creatures, you still attack the nearest creature to you until you can't see or hear a creature within 60 feet of you.
I'm glad that the guys were giving this to the guy who's got whelm.
I take that means like us as well. Okay.
Maybe we do want that on someone we can take down easily.
Well, if it's only a sight problem, I can potentially make us all vanish somehow.
As soon as they lose line of sight and can't hear, as soon as they, no, it's specifically that as soon as they can't see you, can't see anyone within 60 feet, they calm down and they're back to normal. So, bright and early, right in the morning, you see the lights are all on, all 6 of them. I know Loic is going straight for it. Is anyone else?
Aaron's got a question still. So.
Okay.
That's just gonna
So-
hang out.
Loic first, and Harshnag offers to help translate for anyone.
I'll go ahead and take you up and keep my 1st level spell slot. My question is, where can I find a weapon capable of severing pieces of one's soul, otherwise leaving those pieces intact?
Where? She
How?
responds. Okay. I need you to clarify. What?
How? Totally how?
How do I find? Okay. What you seek is a dagger of Nisus. And if Nisus doesn't ring any bells, it says it can be found in the land or plane where Nisus resides.
Is that a history or religion check?
Either or. Okay. Loic. Nisus is the home of Asmodeus
Oh,
within the deepest level of the 9 hells.
so I have to go to the deepest level of hell in order to find the instrument that I'm looking for?
Yes.
Well, call me Dante!
Yes.
Sorry.
But you know of the weapon is now known as the Dagger of Nisus.
He walks out of the circle looking very forlorn.
Why would you seek such an item, child?
I am putting together my own little system for immortality.
You seek to cheat death.
Yes. It's almost like a rite of passage for us wizards.
What
Leagues of-
purpose would this serve?
Well, if I died, I would return to the material plane.
You seem to have no trouble doing that anyway, Loic, to be honest.
That's been happenstance and luck. The first time was because I was, the god of death was benevolent to me when he didn't need to be, and he let me choose my own path, and then after I was forced to do that and did it, I am repeatedly getting thrown into pandemonium next to Gonador. This
Maybe-
time around, it wasn't me who found a way out. I was summoned from pandemonium back to the material plane. So if the matron mother hadn't done that, I would not be here.
Who is this Garnadour and this pandemonium you speak of?
It's another plane, not quite as far as Eberron. And Gonador is a entity that exists on the plane of great power.
Is he your lord?
It's more of a mutual relationship than it is a contract, like some people do. I help him, he helps me, sometimes.
So you do serve him?
Yeah, but I could say that he has given me gifts as well, and I wiggle my little arm. It's a symbiosis.
Owen's just kind of looking at him very suspiciously.
Elust is throwing you daggers. Not literally. Eye daggers.
I wink at her.
Aaron's not surprised, obviously, because he's already gained this information. But Aaron's going to walk into the centre.
Okay. What are you going to ask?
Who are my biological parents?
Ah,
Okay.
half elf.
It tells you your father was the Lord of Ampale, and mother was an elven slave in his house.
Did I get names?
Just the Lord of Ampale, and female elven name.
Man, you've had 2 years.
Sorry. 2 years ago, when you first told me the thing, I said, okay, done. That's the father. Done. 2 years ago. Didn't think I'd have to remember it now. The mother is Qi Shen. It's canon. It's done.
Okay, cool.
Did anyone else have any questions? Now there are 4 lights still lit.
Gideon's going to wait to make sure that nobody else has anything before he goes.
No one else seems to be stepping in. So Gideon, you walk into the center and you pose your question.
How can I find the planar raiders that I seek?
The response is follow the trail of death and destruction in their wake. Start with Bryn Shander.
Okay. Nodding to himself, Gideon steps out of the circle looking very serious.
You too, huh?
At least I have a direction now. Do you know where Bryn Shander lies?
Yes. Far to the north. Almost as far north as a person can go.
It's a good
We'll
thing
be
I am
headed
not
that
human.
direction. Yes. Yes, this might help that. It's around Raven Rock, where we will be headed.
I must get there with all due haste.
As you're saying that, Gideon, this is the first moment that, because your new Azimar form is kind of gaining control in the traits and whatnot, this is the first time you've ever felt a push from some form of otherworldly guide.
Okay.
You weren't aware of its presence or any particular reason for it, and you just get this thought and this feeling. Patience. All in due time.
Do I sense that? Does that feel familiar in the sense that it might be connected to the spirit of Dolara or anything like that?
It does. It feels very familiar. In fact, the slight voice that you hear in your mind is somewhere halfway between your voice and hers.
Gideon's eyes just widen all of a sudden. This is the first time he's felt contact with anything that he's ever known. And he sort of immediately drops to one knee and places a hand to his chest and begins to speak thanks in Celestial. Bows acknowledgement.
Are you alright?
He looks up and he smiles, and it's the first genuinely joyful smile he's had probably since you've known him. The sorrow that he's always had has vanished even briefly. I'm better now than I have been since I stepped foot on this world, child. The lady has not abandoned me as I had feared.
That's good.
I do have a question for the Allfather.
Yep.
I do too.
Okay, well that's 3 that are gone. So, Taman?
What set off the trap in the cathedral?
The chapel has been warded against the presence of any non-giant kind.
Well, there you go. Hey, Harshnag. Oh, you translated that, so you got that. Next time you bring a group of adventurers in.
I'll remember that fact.
Lael, what did you want to ask?
Right, so you probably haven't been prepared for this. Okay,
Nope, but let's go for it.
He's just descended upon me. Leo asks the All-Father how she can secure a future for her house.
Okay. The response you get is, the future of your house does not lie solely with coexistence with humans. Continue to work with other races, and your solace will be found.
Giants. Thank you.
Then, with nothing else, Harshnag steps up and whispers a question under his breath. Is anyone actively trying to listen to it?
Well, me.
Aaron,
Well, I guess-
our conversation.
I imagine if he was trying to conceal his question, he wouldn't ask in common.
I need everyone to make a perception check, and if it's lower than your passive, we'll take your passive.
What language is he using?
Well, this is whether or not you hear it enough to understand what language, or understand whether or not it's a language you speak. Right. He is speaking in Giant, so you do hear him ask something, but no one's there to translate it, and Gamel doesn't hear it. Neither does Whelm, so Whelm doesn't translate it. But a moment goes by, and a voice again in Giant responds in kind. And he just stands up and he looks a little put out, as it were. Almost sad.
Could we hear the response that he got from the Oracle?
You heard the response, but whether or not you understood the response is another matter.
Well, I understand Giant, so...
Oh, you understand Giant? Okay.
He doesn't realise that he does, but he does.
Oh, Gideon needs to be beaten.
Gideon, you understand the message to have simply stated, rebuild the chapel, and you will please him. As Harshnag steps out of the archway, and now with all of the lights having gone off and all of the sentient individuals out of the archway, no longer in it, the wall solidifies, and the archway, the opening, is gone. Harshnag steps to you all and says,
Well, it seems I cannot join you in this search for the giant relics. I need to take care of this location. Rebuild the chapel that I destroyed. Should you have need of me, you know where to find me. And once you have the relics, come straight back here and we know where to go. I will aid you in the fight against the giant lords. But these small burial mounds, take my map and go.
It's probably better this way anyways. We'll be able to sneak a little bit easier without a giant behind us. If you're willing to receive a spell of sending every now and then, we may inquire after you.
I'll pick up every now and then.
and with that, you all pack up your camp and you start heading out of the Eye of the Allfather. As you do, you start walking through the tall open gates, continue down the pathway to the eye sculptures that stand as the entryway to the Eye of the Allfather, and that long bridge of ice stands before you. You all hear a strange sound, almost of propeller movement, and you look up, and a very strange vehicle seems to be hanging from the sky overhead. Slowly drifts closer. You get a better glimpse of it, and it looks like a boat that has had some sleigh runners attached to the bottom of it, and it seems to be held aloft by a giant red balloon. It lowers itself closer towards the bridge that you now stand upon, and it stops about 50 foot above the bridge.
Did Gideon recognize this?
make a history check.
I wanted to know what kind of colors it was flying.
It's got no flags. The only distinguishing feature is the red balloon.
Alright. Have you seen something like that before?
Gideon, you don't know of it. Know what it is. Loic, this is an airship. You've seen airships before. You've never had the opportunity or the need to use one, but this is an airship. Quite crudely made as a result, because looking at the sleigh runners attached to the boat, but it's an airship.
This is an airship, Aaron. I have never seen one before in my life, but this is an airship.
Okay. Is it magical?
2 huge ropes then start descending, rope ladders. They kind of roll over each other as they fall down to the ground, just hitting the top of the bridge.
Looks like we have company.
I take a defensive position.
Aaron's gonna take his bow out. How far away are they from us at the moment? Sorry?
50 foot high.
Yeah, they're above us.
They're 50 foot above us, but are they? They're literally above us.
They are like probably about 20 to 30 foot away from you.
And then 50 foot.
And 50 foot high. Yeah.
Right, Aaron will pull out Black Rays and then...
A moment goes by and you don't see anyone coming down. And then one individual clad in black clothing, wearing a spiked helmet, peers over the edge and beckons you to come up.
Okay.
No! Lel stops you.
What? What is it?
Who goes there? Lel shouts.
The ship lowers itself a little bit to get in closer voice range, drops down to about 30 foot above the ground, and you see it a little bit clearer. I need Aaron to make a history check to see how good his memory is.
That's good to see.
Nope, never mind. Alright, so as he peers over the edge again, he calls out, "We come to you on behalf of Clouth, the great dragon of the north. Clouth offers you this vessel along with our services as a gift, so that you may cross his vast domain while avoiding many perils of the land below. War against the giants is inevitable, we know. We seek to aid you. The great dragon commands you forge ahead with your journey, face your destiny. The ordning of the giants has been broken, and he wants you to slay their leaders. Follow the path that you have before you. But once you are succeeded, visit him in his home."
I'd like to insight check that, please.
He seems completely honest with what he said. That's exactly why he has been commanded to share the information. He represents Clouth, the Great Dragon.
Is Clouth a metallic?
Clouth?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Clouth is a chromatic. Make a history check, Loic. Clouth is one of the largest and most fearsome red dragons ever known in Faerun.
Huh. Oh, goodness. And he wants to help us. Why does he want to help? What does he have in this fight?
Clouth has seen that you are playing against the giants. He wishes to aid you in that, as the great war between giants and dragons has waged for millennia.
Do you know where to find the fire giants?
Not myself, no. But we are at your command. If you know where to go, we will take you there.
I've never been on an airship.
How does Clouth know of our involvement?
A great dragon such as he has the ability to see a lot that you would not understand.
And what's your name?
My name is Brasik.
Brasik.
What names tonight?
Yeah. I hope someone's writing these down.
I am.
Excellent.
Are you our pilot, Brasik?
I am the captain of the ship.
and you will take us to Clouth when it's all said and done. That is your job?
Yes. When you are finished with whatever you are doing, once your path against the giants is done, we will take you to Clouth.
If it just so happens, just metaphorically speaking here, if we get separated and you still wanted to be able to see us, would you be willing to tell us Clouth's location so we can meet you there?
No.
One shot.
Please?
If we get separated, I assure you, Clouth will show us where to find you.
I don't fancy being indebted to a red dragon knight.
Well, it may not be in debt. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. It seems like the debt is to fight the giants, which is something we are already doing, and he sees this, and so he's like, well, why not?
As you're all having this discussion, Gideon marches forward and takes a hand of the rope. The lady guides our footsteps she has provided for us, and he gives it a tug.
Okay. As you tug on it, 2 individuals reach over and start pulling up the rope ladder, and you ascend the 30-foot onto the edge.
Yes, I do think we are going.
Seeing Gideon go up, I was just kind of sighs and shrugs and says, beach walking, I suppose, and goes and takes the other rope.
I hope I have my own room. And she waits for a ladder to descend.
Ladders go back. You can climb up.
I'm just putting it out there. Wave is going to have a field day.
Yes, it is a ship.
So I asked Loic, if red dragons are evil, is it possible that this very visible symbol of the red dragon would possibly associate us with the red dragon and enemies of the red dragon, such as, I don't know, other good dragons? Would then we become enemies of good dragons?
The good dragons, as far as I know, and I'm saying this having never met one, but the metallics seem to be a lot more sagely and wise in discerning who to attack. I think that they would give us a fair trial before unleashing whatever they have on us. As far as the giants go, I have no idea whether or not they know what airships are.
Yeah, I'm less concerned with the giants. We're going to get on their bad sides anyway, I think.
If it bothers you, we might be able to change the color or the apparatus.
I'll ask the captain. I'll ask how attached he is to certain elements of this vessel.
Just to rewind, Matthew, would you like a recap of what you
So
mentioned?
we've got an airship? This is so exciting.
Yes.
We're boarding passage.
So, you stayed the night, got all of your questions answered. Harshnag is not with you. He is staying behind to rebuild the chapel. That he is convinced now that he is the reason why it ultimately was destroyed. And so, as you're leaving, this airship arrived, willing to take you wherever you needed to go.
Magic armor, is that just that I pulled off the giant? Is there anything special about that?
Yeah, we checked it out for you.
I, as Loic, insisted on making sure I knew what it was before you went and put your body in it.
Because I saw the opal ild rune, but I didn't see anything else. Anywho, I can follow up on that later.
Don't put it on.
Don't put it on.
Don't put it on. Look, is it cursed?
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not a bad curse, depending on who you are.
It's pretty cool. I just put it
I would
on
take
right
it.
away.
I would take it.
To be fair, you have to be hit for it to start.
Okay, so
and we were 400 range, so yeah, it would work.
You're probably confusing him by just alluding to it. It is a +2 set of breastplate. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Of plate armor, so it's pretty powerful.
Sure.
Now, aside from that, once you have attuned to it,
Uh-huh.
to use it, you become cursed. That curse is a berserker curse. When you get hit and dealt damage by any hostile creature, you must succeed on a wisdom saving throw. Otherwise, you go into a berserking rage and must continue to attack whatever is nearest to you. Once there are no more hostile creatures, you must continue to attack anything that is nearest to you, including friends.
Of
Until-
course. Who else would you attack if no hostile creatures were around?
Yeah, until you can't see anyone within 60 feet of you.
I see.
Sam did have the idea of of how to mitigate that.
By tying a pack of dogs to you.
That wouldn't help, because once he'd killed them, he'd go after you.
We could make
but
a
give us a
helmet
chance
with
to, give us a
blinkers.
chance to run
It's
away.
a chance to run away.
Yeah, but like a helmet of blinkers. Blinker helmet. We just have
To be
someone
fair, if you're 200 feet away, you can still shoot perfectly fine. So we could be like 200 feet fine.
So what I'll say then, I used Whelm in the previous encounter, but we forgot to roll the wisdom save to be afraid of the open air, which is why I just rolled, and I failed again. So Camel's not excited about getting on top of this airship because A, doors don't like ships anyway, and then B, you want to put him on an airship that's decidedly not underground. So he was quiet this whole time out of just trying to keep that locked down, as it were. So he'll agree to follow you guys because you need an armor, and he's not gonna punk out. But like, he's not gonna be chatty. He's not looking forward to this ride.
Oh, Aaron remembers these guys now.
Aaron doesn't remember. Ty remembers, but Aaron doesn't.
If I see Gamel's trepidation for getting up on the ship, I'll let him know that if he likes, I can put him to sleep during most of the trip.
While that is appreciated, that I'd just as soon not be helpless and unconscious on a deathly rickety machine that's just going to fall out of the air. If the time comes, I'd rather be able to act than not. I'll just hang out. You know what? I'll hang out below deck and pretend it's a cave, and that'll be fine.
Well, if you need any help with anything at all, let me know. I can probably put you to ease somehow.
Well, we can go back to working on that device we were talking about earlier. It'll take my mind off it.
Sounds good.
Normally we do with drow children is just put them under a blanket.
It's the same thing you do to snakes.
So you all make your way up the rope ladder and you get to see the crew. Every member of the crew is now stood there at attention, willing to answer your command of where you want to go. The captain briefly explains what's available to you. He explains that the furnace will never go out, for the Great Cloud has trapped a fire elemental in the furnace, and that keeps us aloft. We have our crewmen running the propeller in shifts, so we can continue going all the time. We just swap out crewmen. On the front of the ship is a very powerful, very strong harpoon gun, so should we find ourselves in need of a spot of fishing, we would be able to do so. And then at the back there is a very powerful iron ballista. If you should need any defense, we will fight for you.
Can we change the colour of the balloon?
If you have a way to change it, yeah.
Captain, do you guys see much aerial combat? All these weapons makes me think that you guys are not only equipped, but trained for fighting in midair.
We have had to deal with airborne combat before as part of our training. We train for that eventuality, but we do find that the air tends to be less dangerous than the land or the sea. Fewer things can get to us up here, and anything that can has a tendency to struggle to stay aloft once you pierce its wings.
What? Aaron's a bit confused. He's never seen an airship. He doesn't know that hot air rises and the balloon is being carried aloft. So he's going to ask him, how does this thing fly? Is this a magical device?
It's simply science. We have a elemental trapped within the furnace, which continually burns and provides hot air. The hot air lifts the balloon above our air. We control how much hot air by this valve here. Very simple. And to go where we need to go, we have crewmen cycling on pedals at the bottom, which turns the propeller wheel at the back.
So you're telling me that the only thing that's keeping us aloft is this balloon? This very fragile looking balloon.
Hot air, Aaron, is less dense than cold air. The science that you're looking for is in the way that air in and of itself is made up of many things. They control the least dense of which and puts it above so that it acts like a bubble in water. You understand?
I get the concept.
bubble.
I'm concerned that if we were attacked, the only thing that's keeping us aloft is a balloon.
At which point he signals to the person that's manning the ballista. He immediately turns the ballista straight up to the balloon and fires. The bolt shoots straight up, hits into the balloon, and bounces off a magical force.
Magic.
Okay.
That bolt then bounces off and flies straight down, hitting into the ice bridge below.
Okay, you found me reassured.
Gideon's looking very relaxed at all this, and he gives Seren a reassuring smile. They have many such devices flying about Eberron, child. Very few of them have problems. These are quite normal. You need not fear it plummet out of the sky, and if it does, I shall catch you.
What about the rest of us?
Try to fall slowly.
That was my concern. I had my own means of flying, but yeah, I was worried about everybody here.
Can we get a description of what the crew looks like? Like, what are they wearing?
Every single crew member is dressed in the same black robe with a metallic grey mask on. And the captain does say, unfortunately, none of us will willingly remove our masks.
Is Aaron ever going to remember this? Because he owned this attire. He used it.
It takes you a little bit of time. And in fact, your bag of holding still has a dragon cultist mask in it.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
No, I think Ilya has them. But I don't have that on me. But Ilya does it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You'll start to get a glimpse. This is just the typical attire of a dragon cultist, which plays into more of his instructions that he said before. He worships the great Clouth and will not do anything to displease him.
Okay.
Brasek, can you tell me who your lead engineer is on the ship?
That would be Delsophine.
Can you tell me what she looks like so I can go find her?
A black robe, metal mask.
I suggest,
Lael.
We should make progress. We can ask all the questions we like en route. Do we have a destination, guys? The worm cave seems to be the closest.
Is this worm cave a worm cave that we've been in? A purple
Nope.
worm cave, by any chance?
But it is conveniently positioned above the worm writhings.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So
What about
on the map,
the mysterious destination of you are here?
yes, on the map Harshnag drew, there's an arrow that says you are here. Right outside of that is an X, which he says indicated
Right. Okay. Sorry.
arrow. Down.
The X that's next to the arrow is where the Eye of the Allfather is.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the nearest one would be the Great Worm Cavern.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, then that's probably where we want to go.
So we're going to the captain. There was a cavern to the east. About 2 days travel. How far would we going?
Point at the map.
He asks if he can take the map and study it so that compare it with his map so he can track where we should be headed. Is that okay?
Maybe.
How long do you reckon? How fast can the ship go?
The ship can travel faster than any ship you've ever seen. He looks at the map, looks at the distance, figures it out. We could be at the location you speak of in 4 hours.
Make it so.
With that, he signals off to one of the individuals to go straight behind the wheel. They immediately start turning, and they go to work. With practiced efficiency, the ship immediately starts rising up into the air, turns on its axis, and then starts heading straight towards the Great Worm Cavern. It takes you a journey of about 3 to 4 hours, upon which you can explore the ship, get to know the kind of very quiet people that aren't really talkative at all, crew members. You do see that on the lower deck there are crew quarters. there is a series of cabins. Each of the cabins has a door that can be bolted shut from the inside and not unlocked or locked from the outside. Each of the cabins has 2 hammocks, a writing desk, a chair, a footlocker, and a porthole. So, fairly simple quarters. He does say that all of his men sleep in shifts, so they just use one of the 4 quarters that are down there. So the rest of you are welcome to use the other 3 as you see fit.
What's that?
That is a storage. It's a storeroom. The room is packed from floor to ceiling with crates of rations, barrels of fresh water. There's even a couple nice casks of dwarven ale and a very nice old elven wine bottle.
Doesn't matter. Nell's going to set up shop there because it's the only one that's not going to be slept in by others.
Okay. You will regularly be disturbed.
That's fine.
Because this is where all of the food and equipment is kept.
Gideon's going to be up near the bow of the ship. He just wants to feel the wind in his hair and try and get the feeling of flying again.
Ah.
King of the world!
I asked the captain how he keeps in touch with his Dragon Lord.
We do not. The dragon commanded us to find you. And that's where we went. We will serve the dragon and return. That is our task. That is our job.
So if this ship crashed and was never heard from again, he would not know anything about it?
Oh, the dragon sees all. He would know.
Noted.
So Owen's just kind of leaning over the side slightly, just staring in fascination at the ground, which is so far away.
Aaron's, he's going to be on deck. He's a little bit suspicious. If he's got a vague memory of these guys, the last time he had to fight these guys, the last time he had to fight a dragon, so he's a little bit wary.
I'm gonna go pester Delphine.
Okay.
The ship
Walk
is
up to her
tiny.
and ask if she's busy.
As the chief engineer, she's mostly managing the furnace itself, because it's a very delicate contraption, but she's not too busy. Yes?
Would you be willing to talk to me about this machine?
I have been instructed to share information with you. Yes?
I only care to know enough to help if something happens. I don't believe that this contraption is beyond my fathoming. So if you let me know how it works, then I can help you keep it up in times of trouble.
It's fairly simple and straightforward. This valve here, and she goes into a long discussion of explaining exactly how you would physically control the elevation, and then explains and takes you over to the helm, where not the captain, but the first mate is stood there holding onto the wheel, and she has him turn it, and you see how it works, and it shifts the propeller left and right. It all works like a typical ship in that regard.
If Aaron's seeing this, being that like what we did in 6 months, is this similar to a normal sailing ship, or it has similarities? Because that would be something Aaron would be interested into learning anyway. So if he picked up on this, he may be involved.
Yeah, the actual physical, like the controlling the direction of the ship is exactly the same as a normal rudder.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. The control of how quickly it moves is more complicated, and that's based off of a couple things, which they explain a few things about how it works, the pedal system. They also mention that they do get some assistance from other mechanics, but generally speaking, it's fairly straightforward and sound.
Okay.
Right?
I walk below deck, and I just want to check out the level of exertion that these guys are using to do their work.
So they don't appear to be exerting that much, really. If anything, actually. They seem to be very, very casually moving.
How high are we?
Right now, you're soaring a couple 100 feet above the ground. But you're going over mountains, so it's constantly changing with relative to the mountaintops. Taman, make a investigation check.
I'm much better at perceiving, DM, than I am
Then
at
go ahead and perceive. Go ahead and
Oh,
perceive.
okay. All right. Now you're playing my song. Well, whatever.
Okay. Never mind. Well, your passive is 18, so you do notice that there is the sound of heavy winds coming from this area right here. You go over to look at it and listen to it, and you realize that not only do they have a fire elemental trapped to control the elevation, they've also trapped a air elemental to aid in propulsion. And what they've actually been doing is a case of the pedal movements are for fine-tuning the direction, but the air elemental itself is pure speed.
So the cultists are impulse engines, and the air elemental is the warp drive.
Exactly.
Got it.
So barreling through
Finally,
the
a
skies,
description we can all understand.
sci-fi description.
What's an engine?
After the 4 hours of travel, you start coming close to the area that looks like it should be right. In fact, you can see that the cavern opens up before you, and there is evidence of recent visit. There's actually little bits of boxes outside the cavern entrance that seems to suggest people have been here recently. How do you proceed?
Should we do a pass of the area before we land?
As Captain Brassic, as a servant of the Great Dragon, I noticed that our map includes the words Great Worm Cave. Do you know anything about any great worms living in this area?
He looks at it, looks over it. I think there's a difference between worm, as in worm, and worm. This cavern, I've never heard of a dragon kind referred to as a worm of that sense. So I don't think it's draconic in any way. If anything, it's probably more like the purple worms you may find down in the underground.
Aaron has studied, obviously, the Underdark map, and he's got a very good knowledge of the overground map. So would he know that the worm wyverns are roughly in the same location as where they are on the surface now?
Yes, you're at the very tip of it,
Yeah.
but you would have an idea. That's where you are.
So he would let Taman and that know that we're possibly in the same area.
Okay. And we see that there's signs of activity below us?
There is evidence of activity as you come to the entrance of this location. Little bits of rubble and man-made refuge and cartons and crates and things outside the entrance. Seems to suggest there has been travel here recently.
Aaron's going to approach Owen and then go, you can sense things like I can, can't you, boy?
That's right. I can track things as well. I'm very curious to see what could be down there.
If you want to stretch out with your feelings. Aaron's going to, look, if we take a moment, we can probably sense this out together, because I can sense the worm creatures that if there's other people in there, you might have a better flow of that.
Is Owen next to the rope ladders, perchance?
Owen can be. Owen has free reign of the cabins.
Okay, so Owen's going to pick up the nearest rope ladder and toss it over the side and start climbing over.
Okay. Before Owen starts climbing down, the captain does grab you and stop you and say, maybe it's best we find a suitable place to land. We are still a couple 100 feet above the ground.
I figured that they'd gone down close enough to see activity of... I don't think they'd be able to see anything from a couple 100 feet away.
Well, they're not a couple 100 feet away, but it's a big drop right now. You're just in range so that you can see it. It's quite clear. But you haven't landed. You need to find a spot that you can suitably land.
That's what I know. Is just kind of sitting in an abseiling position. And he says, just get a move on then. says good-naturedly.
Let's do a close sweep and just pass over, and we can figure out if anybody's down there, and then find a position to land it a little ways away.
I can't hold on to this all day. Let's just go down there. I'll keep near the rope, and then you can pull me up if there's any trouble.
No, I don't want to get ambushed, and I don't want the airship to get ambushed, but while we're that close, it's better to keep on the move.
As you're moving around, moving to a location where you can get at least the ship close enough for the 50-foot ropes to be useful, you do see a couple of tribal warriors that seem to be standing guard at the entrance, but that's about it. Shortly after you find a suitable location, and the airship, because of the nature of how it's being moved and controlled, is very quiet. So you're able to lower the ropes, and all of you get down onto the surface of the ice next to the entrance to this cavern without seemingly having drawn any attention.
Okay, well, Owen's gonna use primeval awareness.
Okay.
Aaron's going to use primeval awareness.
Okay.
And with your powers combined,
You are Captain Planet.
What's the range on your primeval awareness? It's about 5 miles.
5 miles.
5 miles, yeah. Of
Okay,
humanoids.
you do sense, Aaron, you sense a couple monstrosities
Large.
within the cavern. Fairly large. In fact, you get a sense it's very similar to the monstrosities you just recently encountered inside the temple.
Okay.
Owen senses 4 humanoids.
I was just kind of looking at the two guarding the hole. It says 2 there. I think there must be another 2 inside the cave.
I'm not sensing any purple worms, but I am sensing something that feels similar to those creatures we fought back at the
I hate those guys.
thing. Yeah.
What were they, by the way? Because I wasn't there for the last session, but Owen was.
I don't know what the name is.
It's called a Remorhaz. I can show you what they look like. So that's what they faced.
They're
Okay.
pretty.
There's 3 of them down there. Are they in close proximity to each other, or are they spread out?
They feel like right in close proximity to each other.
They're all alright, so I'll compare.
Do you think that they are working with the humans, or do you think that they're fighting the humans?
Maybe we can correlate this. How rough? They were deep for me, but the humans are just in the inside of the cave.
Yeah. So you're coming up close now. You're heading up the slopes towards the entrance. The humanoids are right at the entrance to the cave. And you can almost get a glimpse of them as you're coming up and making your way further closer to the entrance. The monstrosities, not only do they feel further into the cave, but they also feel lower than the ground.
Right. Would Aaron figure out that these might be burrowing creatures and therefore making a lot of noise might
Yes,
set them off? Okay,
that
so
seems about right.
right. So if we're going to take these guys out, we need to do it as quietly as possible and not make too much. It might be another purple worm situation where if we make too much noise, they'll come up at us.
so maybe we could lure the humans out here and therefore not have the sounds of battle echoing through the caves.
That's a possibility.
Are the humans going down to potentially the same region as the monstrosities?
No, they're not moving.
Oh.
The humans are quite close from what I would say. So I feel these monstrosities are quite deep down, like the sound travels.
Well, no time like the present.
Well,
Owen's going to cast Pass Without Trace.
what could we do, or what would interest these fellows at the cave entrance, do you think, to, instead of going anywhere and raising an alarm, come to us?
We could potentially throw the frost wormling hide at them. Get them to come look at it, since maybe they knew the wormling. I don't know.
Or we could just shout.
I could minor illusion something.
That's right, we have a barbarian's axe. Maybe these folks are a part of the same tribe?
Owen's going to start stealthing forward.
Roll a stealth check, Owen.
Thank you.
Sexy barbarian lady.
Sexy
The old Bugs
barbarian.
Bunny trick.
Aaron's going to follow.
Plus 10 to stealth. I thought I had proficiency in this. Excellent.
Okay,
It's
so
25.
25. Aaron, you as well. Stealth check. Okay. Owen, as you're moving through the snow, you get a sense that you are being very quiet. And in fact, the magical actions, the shadows that you're putting out, is helping out with what you're doing. But Aaron, right next to you, doesn't even seem to be touching the snow at all. It's very quiet, just passing through. The two of you make your way closer to the entrance, and you can see now clearer into the cave entrance itself. You have 4 boulders of ice that almost look like teeth that are jagging up out of the bottom of the entrance, and the top of the moor is about 30 foot higher than the floor. But looking in, you can see that there are 4 tribal warriors that seem to be sat in a campsite / guard type position, keeping watch and communicating back and forth over the distance of this cavern.
They're on plinths, so they are quite
They
high.
are raised up about 20 foot above the surface, but as you see, the cavern opens up to a very tall space.
How far can we move before we have to take another check?
You won't have to make another check.
Okay.
And maybe that's something to bring up. I don't know if anyone else listened to Dragon Talk this week, but Jeremy Crawford explained a little bit more about stealth. I would recommend it. It's worth checking up clarification on how stealth works in and out of combat. Yeah, so you very quietly start edging your way forward, and as you get up there, you still feel like they haven't taken any notice of you.
Okay. Can Owen see anything beyond them
You can
from
see
where
into
he's...
the cavern system. It travels down by a good couple hundred feet, lowers itself ever so slightly, but raised right up into the center is this enormous, how do I describe it? A totem pole right in the center. And then at the far side of the wall is, it looks to be a giant gong, but it actually looks closer to a metal shield that's being used as a gong.
Okay. Owen's going to make his way back to the others.
Aaron's going to stay put and just keep it beat on them. He's going to hide behind that.
So, yeah, Owen's got Sam Fisher, and he goes to the others and lowers his voice and sort of invites them all to huddle round so he doesn't have to speak up. He says, right, we've got 4 of them, 2 at each side, raised up on some sort of short ice shelves. There's what looks to be some sort of pole of some sort of ritual thing beyond them, and even further back, towards the back of the cavern, there's what looks like a gong. I'm betting that's the alarm.
Great, so make sure that they don't reach that. That's the goal.
I can take, if anybody's light on their feet, I think I can help them conceal themselves. If we can get as many people around that gong as we can, then we can block them off. Any volunteers?
Do we have the means to get to the gong magically, maybe even behind the gong, so that no one can see you initially?
Well, yeah, of course.
Can you do that alone, or can you bring someone with you?
I can, in fact, bring someone with me.
Then, oh yeah, I guess DM. Are these scales that we're seeing? Is that the correct distance?
That's correct distance. For you to be able to get behind the gong, or the location that Owen explains as the gong, you need to be within 500 feet, correct? Yeah. So you need to just crest into the entrance, and then from that point you can pop where you need to go.
So yes, I can do that. Does anyone want to come with me?
I'll come with you. I'm not very stealthy, so I take 2 steps. I'm going to blow the whole party.
Cool.
Okay. So, we have one team going to the gong, and we have two groups of scouts that we have to account for.
Owen draws his bow and just says, "The second you reach that gong, I'll fire my first shot. We'll take them by surprise."
Does it look like we can scale the things that they're sitting on top of?
Easily, no, but if you used various tools, you could probably do it.
Owen says, "Can you climb 20 feet?"
Not reliably. I guess I could do my flying thing. We could do that.
Well, I know a little hunter's trick to make you faster. You should be able to climb faster with that.
That's not going to help me. I'm not very strong. Okay, so the ranged guys, you guys can do your thing, no problem. Me and Gideon, we got to figure out a way to close this distance.
Owen sort of gives a bit of a quirky grin and picks up a handful of snow and chucks it over Taman. That should help you out. He casts Longstrider.
Taman, you feel like you can move a little bit quicker than normal.
Neat.
Owen shuffles back and quickly just whispers to Aaron, "Get ready to fire on mine, arrow."
I'll take the closest two here, you take the other two.
Right. And he just skirts round and he's going to ready his shots.
Aaron's going to have to stealth forward a little bit to get himself in a better range, because he hasn't got sharpshooter like those guys.
Should I prepare a shot as well, or should we hold off and try to keep some modicum of silence?
If you make too much noise, those things are going to come. You might as well just hit the gong. Your gun is very loud. We're going to have to keep it silent, otherwise we're going to have to deal with three of those things we dealt with last.
Alright, we'll keep it quiet.
Okay.
Okay, so who's doing what?
Do we all have Pass Without Trace on us?
Only those that are within 30 feet of Owen, which is about that far.
That's really not far, is it?
I don't like these squares.
Should be
I knew.
50 foot.
Actually,
Yeah.
come to think of it, can Owen actually see both of these? I think
Yes.
Aaron's probably going to have a better chance of seeing these guys from afar rather than us.
Sight-wise, you can see them clearly. It's a clear, bright day.
I suppose it's 200 feet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough, cool.
Whether or not you could pull off one shot from your current vantage point is different.
I thought you had sharpshooter, don't you?
I do indeed, yeah. I was just wondering
you're better at those than I am. I can't hit that range reliably.
I'll give it a go.
Okay, I think it would behoove both Gideon and Taman to go to different sides. Well, Taman is definitely going to fly up and try to hit the guys, and I am okay trying to sneak over here to get a clear shot at this group. So I'm going to try to get over there. But I don't want to blow our cover.
You could gesture to Owen to come back over.
Owen!
Psst! What?
I'm going to come with you over to that side, so could you help me out?
Taman, go ahead and roll a stealth check.
+10.
Okay. With the benefit of the help from Owen, you manage to get across the passageway without drawing attention. You do it very quickly and position yourself on the other side of one of those teeth. Now, with everyone in position at the maw of this cavern, what are you doing?
Just waiting for the teleport. Are we gonna? Do they have to see the teleportation destination first?
They don't have to see it, they just have to know where it is and describe it.
Okay, so just wait on the teleport.
Can I get a sense of how close I could get before they might notice me? Or I did not listen to the dragon talk, so I don't know.
The only difference is that once you start stealthing, you make one roll for stealth, and then until you do something actively that obviously breaks you out of stealth, we use that roll from that point on. You never re-roll stealth.
I like that rule.
Okay?
So
So
you have a terrible roll for stuff.
Yeah. you get a sense that you could get close, but from this point on, there's nothing to hide behind.
Well, I'm
So-
going to stay close to the wall
Mhm.
and slowly creep up in this direction like that.
Fair enough. So you start heading through, shimmying across the wall. You are making a little bit more noise now that Owen's no longer next to you, but you haven't drawn any attention yet.
Okay. Aaron's Hunter's Mark guy. No.
Yep.
And he's going to be readying up a hailfire shot at level 2.
The nearest one to you is over 100 foot away, so your hunter's mark isn't going to work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I would have known it. Sorry. It's only 60 foot. I didn't realise.
So Taemon's getting closer and closer, and he manages to get to a point where he can no longer see the warriors standing on top, and they don't seem to have reacted to him.
Okay, waiting for the bounce.
Are you ready, Lil?
I'm always ready.
All right. Now, this is very important. If we become surrounded, do not look at me.
Ominous.
She only goes
You won't want to
when
know
you
why.
go look at her.
Very insecure.
Okay. All right. We'll bamf behind the gong.
And the second Owen sees them appear, he's going to shoot.
So I'm just going to grab those two that bamf to the other side of the gong. And at that moment, Owen, you pull off your shot. Go ahead and fire.
This will be at advantage, I take it.
Yep. Well, you fire off your shot, focusing, trying to get the right position. You line it up. The arrow soars through the air, connects sharply with the center of the first warrior there, knocking him down in one shot, and he falls to the ground. Actually, the force of it knocks him back a little bit. He knocks over the person that was behind him. Stumbling, he gets back up and just starts looking to see what's going on. But the one that you hit is dead and down.
Can he
Go ahead.
get off another one for Hordebreaker?
Yes, but at the same time, Aaron's going to fire his shot, so we'll do Aaron now.
This is with a level 2 hailfire.
That'll hit.
While you're doing the math, unfortunately, I need to go, which is lame because I was gone for a lot of today anyway. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too, mate.
Have a good night.
So, Aaron, you see that the creatures, the humanoids that are stood up on the top, as you fire your shot, they do manage to just dodge enough to avoid most of it, but still, whatever hits them and cuts them does graze at them, and they both fall dead. Owen, go ahead and fire your second shot. This one embeds itself perfectly into the creature's eye, going straight through. You can, from your vantage point, see a hole that pokes through the creature's head, and it falls dead.
Getting good at those eye shots.
Having successfully removed the danger from the entrance of the cave, everything is still quiet.
That's a
And
waste
all
of
of this
the door.
happens at the exact moment that Taemon's wings flare out.
Like a parachute. Well,
Loic and Lael, you now stood next to the gong. You get a closer look at it, and it is obviously an old frost giant shield. You look at the front, and it's actually made out of red dragon scales that have been bolted to a copper frame. It's a huge shield, and you kind of grab it and try to move it. It weighs about 250 pounds. It is a huge, heavy thing.
You do know I have a belt of fire giant strength, right?
Yep.
I could lift that. With him. I could lift that. My lift and
Yeah.
push, I think, is like 750 pounds.
wow.
Athletics
That's a
check?
lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's only lift and push. I think my carry
So make
is
an athletics check to try and grab it and pull it. Because right now
Can I-
part of it is embedded into the snow.
Okay, well, let's try and lift it.
Lael, you grab, you pull. You manage to lift it up out of the bit of snow and off of the railings that was holding it up. You've now got a big, huge fire giant shield. Or frost giant shield, rather.
Wow, are you going to use that? Oh no, as he approaches.
At the moment, I'm just gonna hold it. Let's worry about the rest of that later.
You're a lot stronger than you look.
Like she's showing off for Loic.
I am impressed.
So true.
So I guess we're going grave robbing now.
So this is
So
what
the
we came
altar.
for?
The altar. There's supposed to be a relic by the altar.
Aaron's gonna go, well, alright, we don't want to make a lot of noise, so he's gonna cast the Move Earth to start excavating this quietly, rather than trying to make too much noise.
Okay.
Trying to dig this up. I don't want to make impact and dig this up. I'm going to use Move Earth to roll it out.
Okay.
In the
You spend
meantime-
a couple minutes doing so, and you go far in. You get to the point where the bottom of the relic, the bottom of the totem pole is obviously placed, and there's still nothing under there.
Maybe it means underground.
Maybe it's the shield.
Can I check
Didn't they
the
say it was
shield?
buried?
You can make an investigation check over the shield.
I thought it was
See,
the
go
shield,
ahead.
that's why I listed it.
It seems somewhat similar to the shield that was slung over the back of the frost giant statue you had seen. So
Okay, well,
it's
yeah,
a good
then
bet
that would.
that this is the relic.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you
Yeah.
said it was buried. They were buried underneath the mouse. Okay.
Well, it's
Yeah, but
buried.
It
partially.
was buried, but they've repurposed it for a gong.
Well, let's take it and go. Heck, we got places to go.
I was just going to peek his head inside this here crypt. This crack in the mountain side. Is it actually in the mount? Is it like an opening in the wall?
They're just holes. You take a look inside each of those little grooves, and you can see that old remains of broken and rotted human barbarians. You've got bones and skulls and bits of flesh that's probably only been there a couple weeks, some a couple months. One of them really stinks because it's been rotting for a while.
Yeah. And just sort of pulls a face and makes his way up.
Does the shield look like it's been dug up recently? Does it look like or has it always been on it? Yeah.
It looks like it's been recently repurposed as the gong.
But it's like it was possibly buried with like mud in the
Possibly,
cavities
yeah.
and stuff like that. Okay.
It's
Right.
also been dented a lot, and yeah.
Okay. Aaron will, quite consciously knowing that he might offend a bunch of barbarians and doesn't want to get hunted down by them, will then put the earth back and make it look like it was.
You're worried about offending them. I think they're all dead.
Are there any names on
There
the
might be
graves?
more.
There are no names on the graves.
It's a
Not
little
of
too
this
late for
tribe in
offending them.
particular. Lael,
Yes,
so you're carrying this big heavy gong,
yes.
okay? You're carrying it, you're wearing metal armor, it's one big piece of metal.
Yeah.
I need you to be very careful
Yes,
to move it in such a way that you don't make noise
yes. Okay,
if
well,
you're going to do it alone.
okay, well,
If-
wait. Let's have some more details about the shield, and then we can start throwing ideas around. How wide is the shield?
It is approximately 7 foot in diameter.
Okay, so it's round.
It is round shield,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, it weighs 250 pounds. It's metal.
Pure copper.
Okay, but did you say it had like dragon leather on it?
Dragon scales
scale.
on the far side, yep.
Okay, but only one side.
Only one side.
Okay, can that be the side that I'm holding?
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Right now,
So you're going somewhere with this.
now
If
you can start throwing
if you
your
want a recommendation, I'd take it here and then sit in it and slide down the ramp.
No, that's that could make noise.
So you position it
Style
in such
points.
a way that you don't make noise
Yeah,
with
can
it
we roll it?
as you jingle
But
down.
obviously, the other strong person in the room, the other bloke with the other hill giant, Bell, is going to like assist. After he's put the mound back.
And if it looks like they're still going to make noise, I will drop a sphere of silence on all of us and walk with them.
So combined, the lot of you work together, and you manage to, over a couple minutes, get the shield back up into the airship and are ready to go on wherever you need to go. And at that point, we'll end the session there, guys.
Cool.
You have one of the relics. You could go back to the Eye of the All-Father now, or you could continue using the airship to collect more.
Oh, we're going to...
Well, it's only been 4 hours. We've already used up all our questions, so we have to wait another...
At least one more day.
Got to catch them all. Come on, we'll get... Let's go.
Yeah, let's go for a trip. We've got an airship.
I have a feeling that this frost shield will be like, it will give us the Frost Giant Lord. I think they're all specific to their each Giant Lord, maybe. In case he knows. Fine.
Your face, Aaron, betrays you every time.
Either it betrays me, or I know what you're thinking and put it on.
And then, or you know what you're thinking, you go, I need to change that.